Additionally, I would insist upon occupying a front-forward station on the right side, with eastern breezes wafting gently through the adjacent tent flap. Disagreeable odors would not be permitted to assault my olfactory gland by invading the tent opening intended solely for the aforementioned sweet breezes. And there may be furtive glances at odd passers-by, if I so choose. Now then, I would happily interact socially and culturally with Susan and Mel, pardon me, or with Noel and Sandy, but with no other vapid and vacuous alleged comedic host. I am nothing if not empathic, but there are standards that must be adhered to by persons of noble bearing. As to the so-called judges, well, I would accept the comments and constructive criticism of Prunella, or is it Prudence? But I would very likely refuse to interact professionally, culturally, or socially with the male member of the judging duo. There are limits to one's tolerance and generosity of spirit, and he often talks nastily and uses bad words at times. When summoned to the various challenges, signature, technical, and stop shower, I would of course refuse, in accordance with the Concordat of Beans, to which my earldom is a signatory. By the way, I don't know if I mentioned that I'm the 27th Earl of BlitheringDumb. To engage in silly and meaningless bake challenges such as Ibby Skibby, Kanza Cracker, Stoop Wurfles, Pudding Sloopies, Gelatinous Slurpees, I do like those things intensely, Corkelflies, and Souffles. And anything made of eel. I don't care for eel. How many of you enthusiastic and rabid supporters and readers now engage in perusing this piece of brilliant sort of literary drivel and bake stuff? I'd like a show of hands, please. Additionally, I'd prefer to see actual images of baked goods, those to be sent to the perpetrator of this writing via some form of secret conveyance, such as private courier, carrier duck, beefeater in full Vatican livery, perhaps a private chauffeur, meaning a large muscular chap with martial arts training in taekwondo, kung fu, grappling, and Greco-Roman knuckle-lock. I suppose I might deign to interact with other contestants, if such contestants behave with dignity and deference toward me. I would not interact with whiny contestants who babble, such as that chap who guzzled milky drinks and complained of broken bowls and oven doors, and used the word put far too frequently. I didn't care for that fellow. I did enjoy some of the more vintage contestants, however, homely bakers who brought their own frilly aprons, but they were not allowed to wear them, owing to the mean-spirited regulations of pedantic organizers and production tyrants, cockalorums and petty snallygasters, or maybe even pillocks and oiks. Drat them. Let me clarify. Vintage baking contestants, such as Linda, Maggie, Jane, the guy who performed Arm Semaphore, Norman, I think. One of them should have prevailed. Ageism, I suppose. I'm guessing the famous, revered, and much vaunted, that's me, Lord Eustace Von Bavorois, too, might have been ousted or booted from the marquee, that's the large tented property, because he would insist upon certain standards of behavior and various baked goods prohibitions and avoidances. Thank you. Oh, this piece of drivel is dedicated to all who engage in the culinary arts, such as baking, recipe theft, cooking, devotion to the galloping gourmet and his lovely wife Trina, Julia Emeril, Raquel, Jacques, Anthony, and Kermit. Thank you again. That is all.